The wait for part 2 is finally done, and it is time we wrap up this party of stopping the alien invasion of the Krang. This is your friendly neighborhood double RPG here, and I'm here to deliver to you my thoughts on the last episode of Season 1 of the Ninja Turtles cartoon on Nickelodeon. The last episode started off strong, but can the second half do the same? Listen in to find out. This is part 2 of the Season 1 finale, Booyaka Showdown. Part 2 starts off with the Turtles witnessing the Technodrome before their eyes, and they end up trying to escape from it when the Flying Fortress starts to attack. At the Shredder's hideout, Splinter reminisces his past that he had with Saki being close to him as a friend, and how Yoshi changed to become a different man and start a family with his wife and daughter that ended up making his close friend enraged with jealousy. As he finishes, their ultimate bout finally begins, with the match being that of equal prowess despite Saki using some dirty tactics. Elsewhere, the Turtles are shot down by the Technodrome, and they decide to go back to the sewer lair to talk to Splinter about their situation. However, the lair ends up becoming somewhat abandoned when they notice that everyone is gone, except for Spike, much to Raph's relief. Mikey enters the dojo to see if anyone is there, and he notices that Mr. O'Neill is still around, and begins to attack the party dude. Mikey manages to hold up his own until his brothers come in and subdue the Control Doctor, to which they spot the mind control chip on the back of his neck, and they remove it. Kirby becomes distraught over his actions and tells the Turtles of the Krang's alliance with the Foot, as well as April being taken away to the Technodrome. At that time, April wakes up inside the Technodrome only to be greeted by a hideous and monstrous Krang, who was known as Krang Prime. Man, that alien blob is huge! Even Krang from the 1987 show looks puny in comparison, or... Oh yeah, I forgot that happened. Prime explains that the Earth is a suitable planet to increase the Krang race, with the help of April's mental energy, as it is very special from anyone else living on the planet. Thus, the extraction of the energy from her brain begins with her screaming in anguish. Back at the Foot Clan hideout, the battle between Ninja Masters still goes on, with Shredder still insisting his insanity is all because of Tang Shen falling for Hamato Yoshi, to which Splinter rebuttals that she was never his to begin with. Meanwhile, the streets of New York begin to become thin with population, as many of the citizens are abducted by flying space pods into the Technodrome, and the Turtles make a daunting effort to jump into one of them thanks to the help of Raph in subduing some Krang. Back at the fight, Splinter says that even if he is defeated, that there is nothing left for him that Saki can take. But Shredder says that he is wrong, and that he took away his daughter in exchange for taking away Tang Shen from him. Splinter becomes horrified by the revelation to know that Miwa is still alive, only to be amongst the Foot Clan's ranks. At the Technodrome, the Turtles make it inside and begin to fight some Krang, and learn about where April truly is based on the direction of her screams and Prime's laughter. At the Foot Lair, Shredder gets the upper hand and almost finishes off Splinter, with him saying that Miwa will forever despise the name of Hamato Yoshi, based on his lie. But Yoshi reinvigorates his will and manages to get the upper hand on Shredder this time around. Meanwhile, Krang Prime's ambition is about to commence, but our heroes manage to jump in and save April from any further onslaught from the alien race. Too bad that Krang Prime isn't about to let them escape. Splinter continues to pummel Shredder without stop, and manages to break off Saki's mask to reveal his burnt face from the fires of the past. The Rat is about to finish off Shredder, but notices that Karai is about to strike him, to which he retaliates and fends off against her instead. As he gazes upon Karai, he notices that she is none other than his own daughter, Miwa. Karai goes to tend Shredder, to which Splinter calls for her name in sadness, but she insists that she is who she is, and that he was the one who killed Tang Shen, much to Shredder's deceit. Karai then rushes over to strike at Yoshi, but retreats in knowing that he will not harm his daughter. Finally, our heroes manage to escape to a Krang space pod with Prime right on their tail. Leo makes a bold sacrifice to try and keep Prime at bay, while his brothers and April make an escape thanks to Splinter's advice from before. They manage to escape with the Technodrome going down into the ocean along with Leo, but that leader managed to get out in the nick of time to reunite and celebrate with his family. Back at the sewer lair, the Turtles celebrate and April goes to console with Splinter about her actions, only for the Rat to say that she was right and he was wrong. Leo comes in and asks if Sensei is alright, with Splinter saying that he learned some very shocking truths when fighting Shredder, but says that those stories can wait for another time, as tonight is a time for celebration instead. In the end, the Turtles and April celebrate by dancing and partying in the dojo, but unknown to them is that the Technodrome is still active while on the ocean floor. Too bad we'll have to wait and see what the Krang are up to at a later date, as episode 26 wraps up season 1 from there. All I can say is that despite quite a few things that may have come off predictable and underwhelming, the season 1 finale was great. Part 1 was definitely more superior, whereas Part 2 could have been better. Fret not, as we'll dive into the good aspects before covering this episode's flaws. First off, I have to fully mention about Krang Prime. I bet some of you might have wanted me to make some Transformers jokes as to why characters like Optimus having the title of Prime to his name, but Krang Prime is actually a Krang that is more bearable to hear in terms of his speech. The character is voiced by none other than Roseanne Barr from The Roseanne Show. Yeah, that lady. I know, right? Well, Prime did have that same speech problem as the other Krang, but he did not sound monotone at all. I gotta say that the design actually looks very menacing from the look and the mouth. You can definitely see that the character is this show's Krang from the 1987 show, even with the huge mechanical body at the end. It's a good thing the show didn't call the character the Ultraminator, or else I probably would have raised a stink about that name. So yeah, Krang Prime definitely displays the cruel and dark nature of Krang from the current IDW comic, and I look forward to seeing how he plays out for this show later on. Second of all, the only redeeming quality of the ending was the breakdance session at the dojo. I guess you could call it a guilty pleasure, as it is more of an homage to the ending from Secret of the Ooze, with the nightclub scene. Too bad no Vanilla Ice is around, as it probably would have added to the charm of the ending of this episode. Finally, the one thing that stood out is the fight between Splinter and Shredder. The intense action and devastating prowess of both ninja masters are the definitive highlights with what the episode goes for. It may have been underwhelming at first with Shredder getting the upper hand on some parts, but the fast-paced beatdown at the end from Splinter only made up for it. Seriously, it was about time we see Splinter come to the surface where he and his arch-nemesis duke it out for once. Even though the episode has some great things going for it, I do have some issues with what was played out. First of all, the real meaning behind the Krang's desire for April O'Neil wasn't even fully addressed. While we saw numerous things like finding out that the aliens are after her instead of her father, to where she doesn't transform from the mutagen in the water supply, doesn't explain why her mental energy is needed for the aliens or how it is different from all other life forms on Earth. As you can see, that creates another element in the overarching plot for her character, and I think we have seen way too many of those by now. Next up, I want to address the Technodrome. While I was happy that we got to see it in action and make its grand debut from the outside, I can't say the same appeal goes from within the inside. Just the interior design of the Technodrome is all shiny with hardly anything to make it look appealing. Like, we didn't see any labs or a gateway portal or even robots created by the Krang aside from the android bodies that they inherit. I guess you could say that there are no distinguishing features to actually make the place look great. It just looks like a huge prison fortress with no character or creativity put into the inside. Granted, the inside of the Technodrome in the 1987 show may have had some shine, but at least there was so much detail within the facility to make it look awesome to witness your eyes upon. I just hope that what we saw from the inside was only the beginning, as there could be more than meets the eye. Oh god, another Transformers reference aside from Prime. Dang it, Double R! This is Ninja Turtles, not robots in disguise! Oh, I can't stop because both properties are tubular! Anyway, pardon me. Another tiff I have with this episode is the whole rescue operation did not come off being memorable or even exciting when compared to the raid on the TCRI building from the episode before. As I mentioned, the Technodrome had no character to it, as we saw nothing but bland hallways that were a repeat of the Maze of Doom from episode 19. It's more like the Turtles infiltrate the fortress, rescue April, and make a desperate escape. You think there could have been time to, I don't know, maybe try and sabotage the place from making it any more active? Granted, they might have tried to by accident, but still, it wasn't appealing at all, I'm afraid. Perhaps the number one thing that bugged me about the episode was the predictable outcome of Karai. I called it that she was Splinter's biological daughter, Miwa, and that Shredder took her away within the destruction of the Yoshi family household. Granted, I did like the setup as it does pay an homage to the Mask of Zorro, with the original Zorro losing his wife while his daughter is abducted, so there are big similarities to that plot point. However, the setup wasn't creative to shatter one's expectations, as it did come off with what you would predict all this time. It was good for Splinter to know that his daughter is alive, but it's a shame that she thinks that she is Shredder's daughter. Not to mention, they never even explained in the original comic how Saki had a daughter to begin with. They might have, but I might be in the dark about that, so please don't quote me on that fact, okay? Out of all the complaints I had, some of you may think I actually despised the episode, but I did not at all, believe it or not. I sat through the episode about 3 times, which says a lot for me when working on a review for this. Overall, episode 26 was a drastic step down from the intense delivery of the season 1 finale, but I think it's okay at best. It had great moments to back up the episode, but some things came off being very underwhelming that could have been strongly improved. My final rating for episode 26 is a 7 out of 10. Surprised? Some of you might feel that way, while some of you may be shocked about my issues with it. However, don't let my opinion discourage you from seeing this episode, as I do give you a full endorsement to view the 2-part finale at your heart's content. Believe me, the Season 1 finale was pretty good, but just don't get your hopes up for something earth-shattering in the second half. After 26 episode reviews, Season 1 of the TMNT cartoon on Nickelodeon has finally come to an end. I hope you enjoyed my episodic reviews that I have delivered to you, and let me know in the comments which one was actually your favorite. However, don't think that this is over yet, Turtle fans. Coming up next is a wrap-up video as I deliver my quick thoughts on the whole season while on camera, as it'll be more relaxed and hardly any work to be done. After that, Season 2 will begin for me, as the next episode to review is called The Mutation Situation. Be on the lookout for that one very soon. In the meantime, though, be sure to rate and favorite this video, as well as leaving your positive and negative feedback down in the comments. Also, hit that subscribe button up there, as more support from you guys means that more content is coming from me that you won't find anywhere else. This is Double RPG signing off, and I'll see you for Season 2. Give me a mid-air high 3, Turtle fans!